Welcome, villains, to episode 102 of the Rules of Villainy. I'm Villain Vince, joined as always by my co-host, Villain Andy, and the mayor of Lorcana himself, Brad. And we've got two special guests. We've got the captain of the Rules of Villainy team, Jimmy, who is a day 2 qualifier at DLC Indiana for the second time. And we have the first time for the Rules of Villainy, our own North American Championships qualifier, Rules of Villainy competitive team, Andy the Grape. How is it going today, gentlemen?
Let's go. We had a great weekend.
Doing good.
Excited to be back from DLC Indiana.
Yeah.
Whole state.
Whole state.
The whole state.
The whole state. Yes.
The whole bog.
The whole
The whole bog. That's a deep cut. Somebody gets that.
I hope
Speaking
so.
Of the bog, I got a story about him later. We'll get into that.
You got a story about the bog?
The whole bog.
It's a great time. We're going to talk a lot more about it. We've got some great things to talk about, whether it be, the decks we did, our experiences, and of course, we're going to answer your questions, and we've got Villain of the Week. But right now, first, I just want to let you know we are getting closer, ever so close to that 1,000 subscriber march. So you know what? I'm going to ask you right now, if you haven't subscribed, hit it, smash it, obliterate that subscribe button, and tell your friends to do the same.
If it gets obliterated, how are they gonna smash it? Like anybody else gonna smash it? Man.
Well, I'm saying they should obliterate it on their own account. Like they should,
yeah.
And then you should hit that bell icon to be notified of the best content we have around the Rules of Villainy. We've got a lot that we do. We have Deck Test Tuesday, which will restart up this next Tuesday, and we have the local meta report by your own truly the mayor. So yeah, we've got a lot of things, and we've got more things planned in the future. But with that, let's get into Underworld news. So we have here on the podcast, as you can see, our own captain Jimmy is top. What was your end result at DLC Indy?
9-3, which I think started at like 46th place and went through like 90 something, and I landed at 80 with tiebreakers.
80 with tiebreakers. But it is your second day 2 in 2 different formats. You're the only person on the Rules of Villainy competitive team that has made 2 successive day 2s. Your first was where? Milwaukee. Yeah, so that's awesome. That's super great. And then we have, as I said earlier, our first NA Championships qualifier, top 32, Andy the Grape, with us on the podcast. This was not only your first day 2, if I'm correct, right? But also you made it into the top 32. What was your all BL result?
So I finished 21st, and I was 10-3. So
that's great. That's great. I appreciate that both of you gave me your record and not like X3 or X6 or whatever.
What does it mean?
It's like, what does it mean? Exactly like Brad said. Yeah, it's all but yeah, so congratulations. We are going to talk a little bit more of that as we get into our main segment. But I just have to say, we are now into getting closer to the Attack of the Bog, which will never get old to say, as though I know some of you probably think it is old to say. In fact, I'm just going to say it again. Attack of the Bog! Because it's so fun to say. But yes, we just started reveals for Attack of the Bog! And I'm super excited. Are there any cards that any of you have seen that you just want to highlight? Like maybe one card?
Dock action.
No, yeah. Go ahead, Jimmy. Dock action. Oh yeah, dock action's pretty good.
Yeah, it's got Flynn Rider on it. Don't hurt my smolder, I think, or something about.
I think it's just called smolder, isn't
it?
Something.
And cost 1, discard your hand, draw 2. It once again is teasing me that Ruby Steel could be a thing, and I really want to try it out with the Shift Lyle that we got this past set, where when you play him, you bin the top 2 cards of your deck into the discard, and then grab a action 2 or less, I think, and put it in your hand. So
Yeah.
you can just keep reusing it.
So I'm excited for sealed. Obviously, I do fairly well in that format. I want to play the new purple morph, which unlike the old morph,
Also a promo.
the old morph says that it counts as having any name for shift. The new morph says you can shift any character on this, and it says includes all shift types. It like has it in parentheses, which means you get a purple morph down, and then you get the legendary Mickey, Minnie, Emerald, Sapphire team card, which is a 7-cost duo shift 0. So you shift it for 0 on top of morph because you don't need both characters because it's all shift types. And so you can have a turn
We gotta
2
confirm that.
5/5 quest for 5. That
So
when
if-
it's banished, it goes into your inkwell.
Jimmy
what
is
you're
correct.
saying is-
we do need a rules update for Attack of the Void. Sorry, I had to
No,
do
I
it. And so before we can confirm that, I do have to say I'm very, very excited for the dual ink and dual character Buzz Lightyear and Woody in Emerald Amber, which I'm sure Andy the Grape you find pretty spicy too if you've seen that card yet.
Yeah, I don't remember what it does, but I remember it being like, dogs are gonna turn into toys.
Well, let me tell you what it does from the Disney Lorcana new card gallery on their website. I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast yet, but it is a shift 5 to infinity. When you play this character, if a chosen opponent has more cards in their hand than you, draw cards until you have the same number. And beyond, whenever this character quests, you may pay or play a card with cost 2 or less for free. So it's literally Clarabelle, but it's not the end of turn trigger, and the lady 3-drop from Amber
Woody.
combined. Yeah. Or Woody.
No,
Yes.
Woody. It's Woody.
Yeah, that
It's
makes sense. Yeah.
Woody, legendary Woody plus a 1-time Clarabelle.
Yeah.
Pretty decent.
Spicy. It's spicy.
And the art's hilarious. I love it.
And
Woody's
you all both
face
know that
sells it.
Emerald is my favorite color, so of course I was gonna choose.
Is it opposite day? I was surprised when you said you were excited about this card because that means you have to play Emerald.
I
Actually-
know, but you know that I really like Buzz Lightyear and and Woody. Like I love
Yeah.
Toy Story, so seeing them together
100%.
on a card is so cool.
All right, Vince, I'm actually getting word from our producer that we have another piece of important upcoming, potentially breaking news. If you have not already heard, both myself and my lovely wife, RoV Kirsten, are in the triple threat match finals against Alvin, aka Lorgain, CCQ winner in the Lorcana Heat Questlemania Championships.
WrestleMania.
As predicted, as claimed, and as promised to all of you out there, Rules of Villainy will bring home this belt. We will be the champions of Questlemania. It's 2v1. What? There's 2 of us.
You
And
don't
there's
know.
1 of him. That's 60+%. Do the math, Jimmy. I can't. It's a lot of percentages. All right.
We don't
It's,
know the
It's
storyline.
600%. It's 600%.
Exactly.
The story being written here, man.
What if someone turns
Andy and
heel?
Kirsten may turn on one another. We don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a ink bath
No,
over
we're
there.
sticking
at
to the plan.
Questlemania.
I'm taking out the lore guide, and she's going in for the win. All right, we're just the lore guide will be looking the other way. I'll get him on the back with a Webby's diary, and then Kirsten will go in for the banishment.
I'm super
Off the
excited
top
about
ropes, off the top vines.
it. Andy, you hoping to get another spot on drafting though with our friend at the Mad Drafter Heath, because I know you really love the sealed format.
Potentially. I did do one draft at DLC Indiana, and I immediately lost, and then
Yeah,
found
you were
out.
also really
out.
underwhelmed with it.
Yeah, and then I found out it was a single elimination, and so I just went home.
For
GG's.
context, I was actually the lore guide of that event, and Andy and Kirsten are both like, "All right, when's the next round?" I was like, "For you, never."
He was like,
You mean
get
you didn't-
nothing.
You didn't describe at the
Oh.
beginning of the event that it is only a best of one? Or
No, our lore guy was like kind of, not really paying attention. I don't know.
That is factually incorrect.
He told us that we had unlimited time for deck building. I went and used the bathroom, and I came back, and the round was already like 10 minutes in. The people sitting next to me, it was like 11 to 14 in lore. I was like, what? I thought I had unlimited time.
I did not say you had unlimited time. I said it was untimed.
Oh, so this is
Untimed, right? That's unlimited time.
this is actually a
No,
thing. I thought
I
this
was building
a
my
bit.
deck in the bathroom.
Those mean two very different things in a casual competitive event. But that's okay. That's fine. Let's move on to the main segment here. In the main segment, we're going to talk about all things Disney Lorcana Challenge Indianapolis. But we're, of course, going to start with Andy. The Grapes are day 2 qualifier in top 32, 21st place, as he just said here. So first, let's start with congrats. How did it make you feel to make your first day 2?
It was. I'll say I started as a relief. In Richmond, I had a win in for day 2, and I lost. So getting the win this time, my win in was a lot better. Recommend it.
Yeah.
That's how it happens. I lost my winning in Milwaukee. Got in the next time.
So for teammate Chip out there, you've got hope at your next DLC, buddy.
Yes.
We had a really good showing as a team. So you made day 2. We were all anxiously waiting because you needed to win all 4 matches in day 2 to make top 30 top cut, correct? Right?
Yeah. Yep. Or that was most likely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts like as you're just continually winning round after round? Are you getting more stressed out? Do you feeling like more pressure, or you just like I'm in a groove? I'm playing this game and nothing's gonna stop me.
Yeah, I was just taking it one match at a time. I've been doing that the whole tournament. I was able to just kind of keep that going throughout. It was kind of surreal. I didn't really I can't really go in expecting to go 4-0. So as you win, it like won the first 2 and then won the other one. Like, oh, I got Simba now. That's cool. I'm like, oh, I guess now I'm top 32. That's also cool. So it's just kind of a just as it goes type thing. So
We should probably preface to those unaware that you were running dogs on the day. How many of those were mirror matches? Because that is a thing that I don't want. Those mirror matches, man, they are very volatile. Like, what were your matchups like?
yeah, that's what I was wanting to avoid was the mirror match. And then in Swiss, I faced 6 of them, so I did a bad job at that. And then that was also my top 32 opponent was also on dogs. So 7 of my 13 were dogs.
Wow.
Yeah. And in Swiss, how did that go with those matches?
So, in Swiss, I went 5-1 against the dog in the mirror matches. So that was, I just kind of was I just was hoping I would know that matchup well enough since I've been playing dogs since 7. So I was just hoping that I could know my deck. I know what they're going to do. Just know the deck well enough that I could get through those. So that was the goal there.
So Jimmy, you've made day 2 for the second time here. You made day 2 in Milwaukee, and you under the core format. Indianapolis was the Infinity format. So tell me a little bit about how does it make you feel to have made it to day 2 in both formats this season.
Feels really good. I think I want to preface this by saying just because you've made day 1 once doesn't mean it was luck or versus skill. But even so, you can have those fears and doubts creep in of like, because I went 3-3 drop at Richmond, and so that didn't go my way obviously, and you get these doubts and voices in your head of like, oh, you just got lucky that one time. It's not going to happen again. Untrue, but that's how anxiety and things work, right? But,
Don't I know it?
Being able to like say like, oh, I did this again. It's not a fluke. I can do this. I think it was funny because I was talking to my wife, Julie, I think on Friday before we even started anything, and or maybe even like during the week, like, what are your goals? And I always talk about it's good to set reasonable goals, what you want to achieve. And I'm like, well, in the past, I was like, I want to get a Mulan, and now I'm like, that's like a given now for me. And so then I'm like, I bumped up to like, I want to make day 2 again, and then like things just kept going well, and it was really cool. And so now it's like, I'm happy to have performed, but now I'm like, oh, now I have to up my goals again to to do better.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So what deck were you playing in this format?
Emerald Amethyst Birds. It was a lot of fun.
And how are your matchups in Swiss?
In Swiss and in the Friday event, I got a lot of variety. I'll say Swiss day 1 rather. A lot of variety. I had a couple Steel Song, a couple Shark Manor, an RA bounce boost, Emerald Steel like discard, and the dogs. And then day 2, I played 4 dogs matchups.
Of which you
I
were
won
able
3.
to win 3 of them to secure your Simba. So you tied with the top. Is it 64 how they did, or 128?
Yeah.
64.
Top 64. Yeah. So top 64, you tied in that matchups for. You ended up, it was the 3rd round, right, that you ended up not winning that round. That was kind of what preventing you to make top 32. Can you talk just like a little bit about that round?
Yeah, so it was against dogs. I or no, it was round 10. I went 0-2. I got on the play, so I won my dice roll. Awesome, right? And then like my opening hand is just really awkward and clunky, and I throw away like 5 cards and get kind of some okay stuff. Like I had the shift, but not like singing friends or doing anything crazy. And they had the Aurora, Willow, 1-drop, Eleanor, Tramp, kind of spam. And what are you gonna do? And then I go into game 2, like just a game, throw it off. And my first 7 is everything's like a 3-cost action, and then everything was 4 costs and higher beyond that. And I'm like, okay, this is trash. And I threw all 7 back, and it wasn't a pile of good cards. So it could be easy to be frustrated by that, but because it was just so like out of my control, I just was like, okay, that it just wasn't meant to be, and moved on to the next round.
It's a good attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. I also how were your expectations, going into day 2, right? Like as you won your first round, what are you thinking through in that? Like how are you keeping calm? Because I know for sure, like I would be stressed. You ever see that movie like Airplane where the pilot, like he's in the like cockpit and
he's
it's just drenching
Heard of it.
sweat? That is me if I ever made day 2.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think to some degree, like I was like, I think I'm gonna reach for Simba because that's like the next thing that I can get. Like obviously, if I won 3 in a row, then I'd be like, cool, let's try for Elsa. But like Simba was kind of like in my head because I'd made day 2 before. But I was also kind of like happy, like, hey, I got my 10,000 tickets. That's awesome. I think the loss almost helped because I was like okay, I'm playing for Simba. It's still sweaty, but like it is what it is. And so I was calmer, and I think it was in both of my last 2 matches that I won, both 2-0 against dogs, one on the play, one on the draw. There were just moments where I was like, I can do this. Like I see the board and like what's in my hand. I'm like, I see how I'm going to win this game and then win this match, and like made it happen. And like my confidence almost built. Whereas definitely had more anxieties when when stuff didn't go my way.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So I want to get way in here with Brad and our ROV Andy here, Villain Andy. little bit. Can let's start with you, Brad. Let's talk about like what deck did you play? You know what we talked about what your like goals were on last week's episode, and how did it go? You talked about you wanted to have fun. You know,
Yeah.
did you have fun playing the deck that you ended up choosing?
Yeah, ultimately, I landed on Ruby Fossa. I had a crisis. I think all of us did the night before on what deck are we going to be running, or what 60 cards are we going to be running, because we all just were doubting. Okay, maybe I need manners. Maybe I need this. Maybe I need that. Some play testing into Ruby Sapphire made me second guess my decision because of that freaking Olaf, right? Like I have to get to 20 twice when I was playtesting with Andy, because I'd get all the way up to 18 and he'd be like, how about we get you back down below 10 and make you do it again. But no, I landed on Ruby Fossa ultimately because what I believe in is that this is a deck that I've always enjoyed. Infinity allowed me to open up and play the decks that I enjoy because they're legal again, right? And I had the most success within this game, winning a set championship back in set 6, and the deck is relatively the exact same thing with the exception of a few cards being the Horseman Strikes. I have 2 of them in there, and the newest character cards are Ruben and Bambi Ethereal Fawn for a little bit of extra card draw when needed. And I found success. I ended up being 3-3 before dropping out of the tournament, but I had some great matches, some great opponents, and yeah, just it was fun to play that deck again, and ultimately can't complain about I wasn't expecting day 2 or any big things from it, but I definitely had fun playing something that I really enjoyed. And I found out I wasn't the only one in the room playing it. A lot of other people were on it too, including Wonderful, who I want to give a shout out to, and regrettably forgot to go meet him. I don't actually know what he looks like. I'll have to watch the stream, because he played Knive in round 5 on stream, playing Mufasa into Knive from Knive's Nerd Corner on his birds. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. But unfortunately for Wonderful, he lost to Knive, and I won in my round in that one against a sweet opponent named Meg from Michigan into Steel Song, and that match went to 3. And Steel Song is notoriously a bad matchup for Ruby Fossa, and somehow took it to 3 and won the game. But man, it was such a treat. To answer your question, yeah, I had a lot of fun. That was my goal: have fun. I got the Mulan, which I failed to do in Milwaukee, so it felt good doing it with a deck that I've always loved. And yeah,
That's great. Yeah. And Knive, friend of the pod.
Yeah.
So you should go check out his stuff. He sometimes comes to local St. Louis events. Villainy Andy, sir. Were you able to try to get your title of favorite villain in at the DLC?
Yeah, I feel like honestly, I do feel like I lived up to I feel like I did well by our viewers. All like 4 of you out there. I appreciate it. I met you guys at the DLC, and several people asked me what I was playing. And when I told them I was playing Ruby Sapphire items, they were all kind of like, "Yeah, you are. Of course you are." Like, yeah, that's what we wanted to see. Like I felt like apparently that was what I was supposed to play. So I actually won my first round against the 3rd Ruby Amber player in the room. There was Brad, Wonderful, as well as one of the Lost Boys, Team Lost Boys. And I was like, I don't know why. I was just really nervous. First round, and they inked. And they inked like something, and they played a Mulan and put 2 damage on it. And I was like, my mind just like back to me playing against Brad the other night, where I like quadruple coiled and little Sisu'd his big Chernabog. And I was like, I have this knowledge. And I made a couple like egregious misplays that I really wanted to just like scoop my cards and go home. Like, I shouldn't have won those games because of how bad of a misplay I made, but I do really feel like that practice, the night before against Brad, a deck that I never would have expected I would have seen, actually came in handy. I think I unintentionally draw. I tied my next match. Again, lots of misplays. I started off very, very rough in this tournament, probably due to my lack of practice. But the draws were awesome because quick decks don't draw. No dogs draw, no aggro decks draw. So I was just playing my items into the slower Blurple players and the slower Ruby Amethyst players, and a lot of shark decks and stuff like that. And so I did fairly well. Went 301, then 311 was still in it, but ultimately went 321, which kicked me out of it. But
Blast off.
I learned, I learned there was a cheat code, right? So if I then just win my next couple ones, I can go I could have gone 5-2-1, right? And then it would have been like, oh man, darn, I almost made it to day 2. That's what Jimmy told me to do. So I tried. I got to 4-3-1, and then 4-2-1, and then my last round, Kirsten was already out as well. She got her Mulan, and we were like, nah, I think let's just call it there. And I forgot to drop, but I was supposed to play Zenulus in the last round. So I just gave him the win.
That's right.
Yeah. And I thought Zenulus was on items, and I thought I was gonna get cooked because I sat next to him earlier in the draw bracket, and I was like, oh man, I'm getting cooked by him and his items. He's probably better than me at it. And then I saw him later out on the town, and he was like, no, I was playing shark, and I was like, I had a chance. Maybe I could have won. So
I'm glad you got to talk to
never
him
give
too. I
up.
ran into him at the restaurant and told him about it, and
Did
he
you
said he was
respect
looking
next?
forward. Yeah, he was looking forward to playing you. And I was like, this is before you guys. Well, maybe you talked already. I don't know. I ran into him at another part of the restaurant, but yeah. Can I tell a story real quick about mine? About my first matchup of the very first matchup of the day. I ran into a new player by the name of Logan. Really, I was checking in with him throughout the rest of the day. He had a great experience. He'd been playing since Shimmering Skies. He was on Amethyst, Emerald, like a bounce kind of like aggro package with the Cursed Merfolk, the Foxes, the Goats, all this stuff. And I lost the die roll, but I was starting to take total control of the game. It was I have the score sheet here somewhere. It was 11-8 when I finally had board control and everything. And I've told the story so many times in person, but I want everybody else to hear this because it is absolutely insane. I got to cheat out my Chernabog at that point, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to start getting everything I need here. I'm going to close out this game
The whole
pretty
bog?
shortly. The whole bog, my man. Not the followers, the whole bog, the enchanted one I bought specifically for this moment. I get the Chernabog on the board, and I make a crucial mistake on my next turn of turning that Chernabog sideways, thinking he's not going to run his Fox and his Goat into that Chernabog. He's going to lose both of them and only gain 1 lore and have nothing left on board. But sure enough, I was wrong. He did run both of them into the Chernabog, got his 1 lore, and you know what came next? A 2-cost Go-Go. A 2-cost Go-Go came out, exerting 2 more ink to gain 8 lore off of my Chernabog, and he went from 8 to 16, or from
11 to 20.
Yeah, but yeah, he got 9 lore total on that turn because of the Goat and
Just 1,
and 8
right?
off of basically.
Yeah.
So maybe I have my numbers wrong here on my sheet. I don't know. It didn't matter. All I did was throw my head back and laugh. Like, of course this happens in the very first round, very first game of my day, to make such a clutch mistake like that just turned the tides. And then the next game, he absolutely just smoked me. I had nothing for him in the second game, and I just sat there stunned at the mistake that I made. The whole bog, giving the other opponent 9 lore. Get out of here, man.
It's kind of funny though. You play a card like that, and I honestly think we've seen with the developers that cards like Go-Go are now saying like you can gain up to X lore versus all like as much lore. to try to kind of like limit that mechanic a little bit.
Yeah.
And that card was kind of one of the first. That Go-Go was kind of one of the first cards that came out that
just
counted
unlimited,
damage.
yeah.
This unlimited damage. Because
Tamatoa is unlimited.
it is.
Item Tamatoa.
It is
That
also
thing.
so is like it works a little bit differently for cards, but is like the Ohana means family, which Andy,
Yeah.
you played
Yeah.
against me in the
6
set
cards.
champs and true. Was it 6 cards?
Yeah, I had a the 4/8 Stitch, Surfer Stitch, and Vince, like, I don't even know why, but put like 6 damage on it, and I guess
No, it was your Mufasa I put the damage
oh
on.
yeah, the Mufasa. Yeah, the 4/9 Mufasa. You put like 6 damage on it for some reason. I don't know. Then passed the turn, and I was just
I'll
like,
get him next time.
I'm sorry, Vince. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry I have to do this to you.
I quit the game after he played that card. I was like, I'm good.
I
Thanks,
made both
mate.
I made both my co-hosts quit the game then, because when I was doing that practice match with Brad, as I was coiling down his Chernobog, he goes, he's like, so help me Gantu, if you coil and little Sisu my Chernobog, I will stop playing this
9/9
game.
Chernobog got hit by a baby Sisu.
He's
Get
like-
out of here.
He's like, I'll stop playing this game.
All right, so I actually want to take a step back and talk a little bit about Friday. Did everybody here played in the pregame ticket quest, right? Everybody was
I did
in
not.
that?
Yes.
Oh, you did not, Brad. Okay.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't either. So I guess for really for both,
He didn't need the practice, clearly.
Yeah, he didn't need the practice. He was like, he's like, I'm good. I'm gonna get some tickets.
Can I ask a question regarding that? Do you think, Andy, not playing in the 7-round event the day before kept you mentally prepared for the exhausting day that next 2 days that you had to get to the top 32, or do you think it would have had any impact if you spent all day playing the ticket quest the day before?
It's hard to say. I mean, it was more so I didn't want to get stuck playing a deck I didn't really like for 7 whole rounds all day on Friday. So I knew I was going to have some cards that I was leaning me towards. So I thought I'll just play a little 3-round tournament, and then it'd be easier to make those tech choices.
Good, awesome.
So what I was going to ask though is, sorry, my cat is deciding that Cassian is deciding that he wants to be on the pod tonight. Do you think, like, how did playing in that quest event help you, or maybe hurt you in going into day 2 for you both, Villainy Andy and Captain Jimmy? Because I think you both played the same deck, right, in that day 1 event that you did in the day 2 event.
I did, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
For me, it was kind of a mess. I like just went back to the RoV house, like yelling back and forth with Ryan, because he was practicing the same thing as well. And he was like, I was like, how do you get rid of the manner? Like, I'm just getting mannered, or even just locationed, and it hurts. And he's like, you just gotta be patient. I'm like, patient for what? For like 4 Vitalospheres and like one of the 3 characters in my deck? Like, this is painful. And so kind of had a real big problem trying to figure out how to solve a few pain points with my deck, and ultimately I just didn't solve them. I just panicked for a couple hours and then went to bed. So and then I was tired. Like, that was definitely a fatigue thing, playing a lot of rounds ahead of time and then a lot more rounds. So for me, like, what I would still do it again, right? Like, I still want that practice. I still like that event, but in this instance, it definitely probably was a net negative for me.
Yeah, because your record in that event was,
I was 4-2-1.
That's not bad.
1. That's not bad. That's
I split I had a tie, so we like split the prizing that one round. So I
That's
didn't
great.
get like the big pile of tickets, but I got a good amount. It's not
Yeah.
bad.
Absolutely. And Jimmy, you played the same deck. It seemed to me in our conversation as we were talking at the DLC that that event actually made you more confident going into the main event. Can you talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that?
So it was probably around Monday of the week leading up that I started to see a lot of people talking about Ruby Saf, either items or shark manner, but especially items. And I was spiraling a bit because that's kind of a really rough matchup for Emerald Amethyst. And so I packed like all the cards I own basically, but especially had sleeved up this deck and a dogs list that I think Sky had posted on Twitter at some point. And it was like, if this doesn't go well, I could probably just play dogs. I've played it before. I'm no Andy, but I would have, a better time than dying to Ruby Sapphire all day. But then I ended up 6-1 and felt really good. And I went 5-1-1 at Richmond on the Friday pregame quest, so I already had that positive experience to be like, let's give it a whirl. It did tire me out in Richmond, but I think it just fueled me in Indianapolis. I did take sort of the event, even though I did well, 6-1, very, very good, right? And I beat some really good players that day. The only person I lost to was like top 16 or top 32 in the main event. So, what are you gonna do there, right? Losing to someone like Andy. But I did find a couple of cards that I didn't quite like as much in Merlin's Crab. It just wasn't really making a difference in a lot of situations. At best, it was able to sing friends, but ended up talking to our buddy Ace, and I was saying maybe I'll put in more Archimedes, just a little more item coverage in Quest for 2. He's not horrible. But he said he had been liking Cheshire Cat, and I'm like, that makes a lot of sense because in the games I won against dogs, it was tight, it was close. They had a lot of Lelos in those games, and that just keep coming back. And when you're playing stuff like Diablo that has 2 health, Peter Pan has 3, you start to exhaust sort of your health pool over a couple of turns, and then you have to start trading instead of keeping stuff alive. And a lot of times this deck wins by sort of stalling out and then having like 12 characters that you just turn sideways. But if you have Cheshire Cat, you can heal up that damage, remove stuff that's ready, all those good things that we know from core. So swap that in for the main event. That was really the only change. 2 crabs for 2 cats. And I guess the other change I made is I bought a enchanted We Don't Talk About Bruno and subbed that for a regular foil. I think that also made a big difference because it makes me happy when I see that card in my hand. And yeah, the cat was really good in a lot of matches, even not just against dogs, but like against Ruby Amethyst, the one I played, Emerald Steel, Steel Song. There's a lot of times that it just shows up as a good card.
Yeah, I think this is actually a great segue. Can we pull up Jimmy's deck for our viewers here? Jimmy's deck, if we can.
Jimmy's deck, not. There we go.
Yeah. Since we're already talking about Jimmy's deck here, so you have this. Walk us through here. So what we're seeing for our listeners here is pretty standard, kind of like a EA Birds deck. But you have something like Under the Sea in here.
Oops, it went away. Hold on.
It's all right.
Yeah, I can talk against it while Lane's talking. I had started at the beginning of the, season of sort of prepping for Infinity, the Wilds Unknown. I had a kind of more traditional pre-rotation Emerald Amethyst with a lot of the Iagos for Rush and stuff like that in there, and then like 4 Snow Forts, and I really fell in love. Had a lot of success there. I tested a lot of other stuff, but I kept coming back to this. And then it won it was Ghent, right? and they had a
Dortmund.
couple of things that
Dortmund.
Dortmund.
Was it
Yeah.
Dortmund or was it again? He won the EU
Well,
Infinity DLC.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
And they
yeah,
had
well
the
that was Dortmund.
Okay.
It was the EU.
Dortmund.
Oh, was the Infinity tournament.
And they had I didn't have at the time the uninkable 4-cost genie. They had 3 of those, and they had 2 under the sea. And they had the 2 cricky and 2 crab, and 2 foxes. They had a little bit of variety versus I had just had 4 crabs at the time. So I sort of adapted to that for the tournament we did in St. Louis, and found out I really like Under the Sea, even if it gets stuck in my hand against Ruby Sapphire. But I found that the genie on Inkables just felt too much, and I draw a decent amount of cards with the deck anyway. And so went with the Emerald Genie. He helps against like Sisu, little Sisu protection as well. Added in the Archimedes as sort of a in between, almost a Frank Karsten-esque pick of I wanted a 3rd item removal beyond my 2, so be it. But I also wanted another 3-cost character that could sing friends, as well as a little more lore pressure and 2 lore, and it kind of checked all those random boxes. So that's how he arrived into the build.
I love that.
Did you
play
consider
with the promo from Reign of or the Palace Heist?
I did not. I used a non-foil because it was like Wednesday and I was panicking. I grabbed like just the play set from my like box of stuff, and like it was a little hectic.
Did you ever at all consider the card Sabotage? Banish chosen item or location, and all items or locations with the same name.
Are you trying to segue me here?
No, because I
into
just
my spreadsheet.
thought that was a really good card against me and my items. I was like, oh well, they played Sabotage, and I was like, oh cool, they got rid of my workshop. And then he's like, no, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
You misunderstand me, son. I want all the workshops.
I consider that one too for like get rid of all their McDuck Manors. Is also a fun play with that. Do you want to open up the spreadsheet? I can talk through.
Yeah,
we can.
That'd be great. What question here is I didn't see in your deck or in, honestly, really even your like spreadsheet here. Did you at all consider something like Fox? I mean, you said you were running Crab for a little bit. I
was running Fox at the St. Louis tournament, and it never felt great. I think in the past, when it did feel like a really good card, we were playing against a lot of these aggro decks that turn sideways like every turn. And when I played against dogs, doing a turn 3 Fox,
doesn't do anything.
All their characters are still ready because they're like building up for an Eleanor or a Tramp turn. Fox does nothing. It just is like, okay, I played a character, cool. And like, there's situations where it's good and stuff, but like Fox is the one where I like want to be able to take out like that Daisy Duck that they, quested with or whatever. But a lot of times when they're questing with like a little thing, I would just challenge it with one of my Diablos anyway. So Fox just wasn't lining up the way I wanted it to. And so that's why it wasn't even in the spreadsheet or considered. Another one that didn't make it into the spreadsheet, but I thought about and feel dumb now for ignoring it is Lyle, the 2-drop. I believe he was in the top 4 list, where when you play him, draw this card, and when you, at the end of your turn, if you had 2 cards put in the discard, drain a lore. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. It could help me. It was part of my search for cards that could draw and discard, like Archimedes, to get rid of Under the Sea in Ruby Saph matchups. And I feel like that one could be really good against aggro too, as you're like singing friends and then using a lever, doing stuff like that, and then drain. So I'm glad someone found success with it.
The reason why I was asking is because like when you add the addition of something like the cat, where you can boost something, having the ability to bounce back the cat with cards under it could be a useful thing. And I was wondering if like maybe that was something you had all considered when you were having a conversation with Ace about getting those cards, or you're like, nah, really what I care about there is keeping my characters with health, and I don't care how many cards are under that because I've got other card draw.
For sure. And I have definitely a ton of card draw in the deck. So
yeah.
Huntsman.
So let's take a look at the spreadsheet that we have up. Can you walk us through what this is?
Yeah, so this was my process leading up into the week of there's a lot of different tech cards and trying to choose which one. Instead of going on vibes, I tried to do some math. I took some online win rates that I had found published, and then on the far right, you see chip meta. This is literally Chip just told me, I think there'll be this percent of this deck, this percent of that deck. And I'm like, all right, you're the boss, man. And I basically used all of those meta percentages as weights and summed up sort of each of these columns times their weight to say, how good is this card in the meta as a whole, not just against one deck. All these ratings were ones I just did pretty much on vibes of like, I think higher number is better in that matchup. I was really focused on Ruby Saph items. You don't even see Shark Manor on here because I was spiraling, like I said. And so I found out that Sabotage really ended up at the bottom as a bad score. It's really good in Ruby Sapphire items, but it was just such a dead card in so many other matchups. I was like, I don't want it. On the flip side, Under the Sea is also at the bottom there, but because of how explosive it is against dogs, like it wins you the game on the spot. So like I should have broken my 0 to 3 scale to give it like a 10. Whereas Sabotage, it does a good thing against Ruby Sapphire items, but it doesn't win you the game on the spot. The way
It is
wiping 10
banish,
characters.
Yeah, it
off
is
the
just
board.
banish iteming. Banishing an item is only a minus tempo for
And
those
so
item attacks.
sort of applied all this. I'd seen some people in the tournament the previous weekend with the Huntsman seem decent against Steel Song and Emerald Steel, even against dogs that are trying to Under the Sea or ping you with Eleanor. A 3 cost 4/3 with Ward just seemed like a decent card to have. Sven was considered obviously Iago, but Genie kind of bubbled to the top with the chip meta spread because I just felt like he helped me both against sort of the aggro dogs and stuff, but also against Ruby Sapphire by giving my squad basically requiring another coil trigger for every single character would be enough to give me a little speed, and he still quests for 2. So I was pretty happy with that. Being able to rush him in with Peter Pan to be instantly online, super awesome. And I got lots of comments from people throughout the tournament of like, that Genie or that Cheshire Cat really threw me off. I wasn't expecting to see that. So
Nice.
The math proved out. But this was kind of my thought and my approach. I also had Cloud Kicker in there. Andy found himself to 1 copy of that independently of me. But this is something I want to tinker with more because we don't have the time or the resources as a 7-person team to get statistically significant practice of all tech cards against all matchups. Like it just isn't going to happen. And so we need to see how they fare against some matchups, do a little bit of vibes, but then weighting it by sort of the expected meta spread, I think is a fun idea to tinker with.
Absolutely.
Instead of just waffling on, I don't know what to tech for, what's going to matter the most. Let's just kind of use some weightings. And
100%.
Always impressed, Jimmy, when you break down, your knowledge and what you find in all your testing. Like the episodes where you're talking before the show, the ones where I weren't on and you filled in, like it's fascinating listening to you go through. I just want to shout you out for that as I'm listening to you, your tech and your reasons why. I'm sitting here in awe listening to that, and it's just a testament to how good of a player you are and how much of a better player you make all of us by being on our team.
He's a captain for a reason.
He's the captain.
Yeah.
He's our captain. Oh, captain. So, I guess the question here is, this is kind of an Infinity event. We don't know what the Infinity format is going to look like in the future. Would you have done anything different, you think, with your deck at all, given what you know now?
I had more testing time, maybe I'd try a little bit of the Lyle strategy, but like the games I lost and the matches I lost more in particular were several of them were just like non-games, and I just didn't feel like my deck, just kind of crumbled on itself. And the games I won, I found a lot of creative ways to win. There's one particular one that stands out, where I had 2 Crickies on board and a Peter Pan. They had 2 Vanessas, they had a big Cindy ready, and they had Exerted Sad Beast and an Exerted Pete, and they were at 18 lore. And like, you look at this and you're just like, I mean, I probably lose, right? But I stared at all my cards for probably 2 minutes and then went, I've got it. I Under the Sea, singing with Cricky and Pan to get rid of the Ursulas. I then play we don't talk about Bruno, discard the Cindy because they're empty-handed. I then play a Wrong Lever. I didn't have Pull the Lever, but I just bounced the Sad Beast. And then I quest with the remaining Cricky. I had 2 Snow Forts out, so even with 2 damage on my Cricky, Pete couldn't out it. And they drew into a second Sad Beast, and that was game. And so they were at 18. Their board looked like they had everything in the world, but my deck found ways to steal it away. So I love that about the deck. It's got a lot of fun ways it can play, and tons of fun.
Absolutely. Well, let's transition over to our top 32 player, which is never not going to be fun to say, be proud of here. Talk us through your deck list here a little bit. Like, what spice you got for us?
So, unlike Jimmy, I did go by more on vibes. So my deck was more teched into the blue matchups and red matchups. I always have the problem with like when they play Liquidator or Bell or Hook or the new Cookie. Any of those that can get to my ladies and slow them down. So one of the tech cards that I have in there is Rex, the 2-drop 3/1 bodyguard, which came in clutch. I only ended up facing 2 shark decks, but I knew they were going to hard mulligan to try to get Liquidator to shut down my deck. And so being able to just surprise like Lady and then, Rex. And then all of a sudden, then I start playing the Willow 1/1, and all of a sudden my board can go really wide, and they just lost a Liquidator to Rex. So Rex was a big deal, and also being able to come in. I really wanted to make Eleanor work, so that was basically the game plan from the beginning. So that's with the Mickey and Rex both being able to come in exerted. It sometimes was a surprise that they would try to get carried off the board, like, you can only exert 2 now, and then it's Rex, and then now I got 3 and make Eleanor go off again. So Rex was a big one. The one of Kit, like Jimmy also talked about, that was the last card that I ended up putting in, and that was the card that I ended up submitting at 844. I was going back and forth between like Kita, Archimedes, stuff like that. It ended up on Kit because I could bounce back aerials, which are always a pain. But that was also for the mirror match was the thought, like being able to sing, still be able to have a 3 singer for Under the Sea, while also getting rid of their ability to sing Under the Sea. I always thought that would be, and basically when rotation hit on set 9, I was like, oh man, we lost Kit. We had Kit, this deck would be so good, and then I have to play Kit now. I can't not play him when I can.
Well, you got Timu. You got Timu Kit. You got in Finnick, right?
Exactly, yeah. But with the 1-drop being, so he couldn't sing Under the Sea, that was where I was like, okay, cool. I can go back to having my 3 singer still.
Upgrade all around for sure.
Which you don't even have the Finnick in the deck that you played. You that which is the card we have commonly seen in the deck, at least in the core constructed version of the deck.
I do have it in the core constructed one.
Yeah,
but I was like, the Kit upgrade I get to do in Infinity, so I'm going to take advantage of it.
How much success did you find with the Mulan? Is that a common card in dogs? Or I've seen it, but I don't think I see it often.
So the Mulan was also partially against these the blue decks that are trying to go slower. That if you can get it off where you have a wind-up board and then you quest for 5 or 6, which there was a game where I was able to. It was actually a mirror match where I had one on the board. They were able to remove most of my stuff, but then I was able to quest for 6 with the board and was able to go from like 10 to 20 in one turn. And they were like, oh, okay, cool. But I was really wanting stuff to survive for Eleanor, so that's why I have all the four defense basically. So
X4.
that's
That's X4.
Daisy.
That's what that means. X4.
Yeah,
When you say
yeah.
what
Just
what
having
is
that
your
Rapunzel in there. It's
If I say X4, that's what I'm meaning. Is
yeah.
Willpower, I believe there's a
Yeah.
term. Let's ask our lore guide.
But that was also a reason why I had Daisy. Daisy can go faster. Daisy and the Steel song I always thought would be fun because I was like, I could steal their songs that way, which I always thought was kind of an annoying thing to do to them. So, but then those were the main things that I remember that I was like leaning towards as tech. I wish I would have teched more into the mirror match. If I had known I was going to face half my matches were going to be dogs, I would have probably done a little bit different, but I obviously can't complain too much about the results. So.
Not at all.
Well, I'm curious what what would you sort of tech for the mirror differently? I mean, Rex seems like it also probably helps in the mirror to some extent. I mean, it's not under the seeable naturally, right? That's got to be useful. It is still useful for the Eleanor. I guess maybe more under the sea. You do only have 2 in here.
Which I think is actually kind of a surprise, right?
It was very intentional though by him, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's a very surprising play.
Yeah. That's like oof.
So I had went through the whole tournament thing. I had 3 under the seas in my deck, so that was kind of a surprise when I looked at my own deck list and was like, oh, yep, I sure did only have 2 in here. And then was going through my deck, I'm like, yep, sure did. But so having more under sea would have been good for the mirror matches too. Rex was the other thing where it's like having that 3 so it doesn't get under the sea is also really nice, and then be able to protect Eleanor for if they're trying to hit into it. The only scary part would be Rapunzel. So I didn't always want to play Rex because I would always worry about them swinging in with their Eleanor if they had Eleanor and the Eleanor battles and stuff like that. But
not even swinging in though, right? He's susceptible to just a Eleanor ping at the end of turn, which was what would scare me the most. Is when playing my Ruby Fossa into the one dogs matchup that I had, who found all 4 Eleanors, by the way. I can't leave Gothel on board. I can't leave Mulan on board. So that that 1 damage that they have remaining and that 1 willpower that that Rex has, I feel like as fast as they get Eleanor out, he could be very. Not long for the world, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least he's a good gain a lore.
Yeah.
1 lore and stuff, and
so you're
useful in a lot of games. I guess the question for you here is, I mean, it probably seems like the answer was fine with the 2 under the seas given your performance. But did you have any trouble finding the under the sea when you needed it?
Yeah. There were several times that I did not find a sea. I would say a lot of my games, I know it's always been, dogs is just undersea versus undersea, but a lot of my games were won by going Nani's and Eleanor's. So then they couldn't undersea me, and then I was able to just, because there's not a lot of strength reduction cards that dogs is really running. I run the Mickey Mouse as one because I wanted to have that strength reduction still. Obviously the Kita was the big one that started showing up at the DLC just to do the whole board, but a lot of the Dex Dogs mirrors I was playing weren't the Kita build, the Kita Queen and all that, so they didn't really have the strength reduction to get rid of my Nani's and Eleanor, so if they just got to undersea, I was just like, okay, well, I'll just keep playing Eleanor's and then build up a big enough board that I could go faster and win a different way.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
You get to use the Kita under the sea combo on someone at the DLC, Jimmy, didn't you?
Yeah, I love Kita. So I was playing against Bubblegumps from Team Additional Inc. on 7th round on the Friday event. He's on dogs, and he kept waffling. He was in the tank for a good couple minutes, and eventually he's like, he's just got to have it. And he had about 7-8 characters. He slams a Kita, and I think, he's about to sing Under the Sea and just ruin my life. But he quests out and passes. And I'm sitting there with an Under the Sea in my hand and like 3 Diablos and a pan on board. I'm like, sing Under the Sea, and he instantly scooped. He's like, got it. Like, if I didn't have it, all my characters couldn't swing. The only other out would be like a Cricky to bring them back up. But even like his, he had the Queen as well, which was a 5/3 down to a 2. Like everything was Under the Seeable. So if he just not played the Kita, I still would have underseed a lot, but he would have been left with a couple characters.
Yeah.
Nice. So
I guess Andy here. One question for me is you've been playing a lot of dogs for a long time. This is probably I think it's fair to say this is probably one of your favorite decks.
Mhm.
So this is an infinity format. We're about to say bye to a lot of these characters, which I know our audience is probably pretty excited about, given the tenor of what I heard at the DLC. How does that make you feel? What are you excited for going forward here? I'm a little curious. Like, what are you going to do next?
I am excited to test out different decks to see. Like, it's always been like I'm interested to see what it's like. I don't want to be like a one-trick pony type situation where it's like, oh, I've been playing dogs forever, but like, and then hey, I had success with dogs again. So I'm excited for the challenge of like, okay, I'm gonna play something different, and if it just happens to be toys in the same color scheme doing the same thing, same type of thing, it's what it's gonna be. But we'll deal with that when we get there.
yeah,
Is
I was
Eleanor
gonna,
still going to be around?
yeah, I was gonna say, you might be losing, Lady and Daisy and Nala and Lilo, but you still have Willow and you have RC Car and Alien and Rex and Woody and the Woody shift. So the Lady and the Lady shift just get replaced right there. Um,
But if a deck doesn't have Daisy, is it even worth playing, Andy? Like, what would be the point?
Yeah.
I mean that's gonna be the biggest problem. That was the other reason why I had to have Daisy in there because I can't play Daisy. So I'm like, I'm throwing at least 2 in there. So
Yeah. We got to go back to Shimmering Skies. All right. Well, let's real quick just bring back Brad, Andy, our villain Andy here. What would you have done differently, or would you have stuck with
Me?
what you did? Yeah.
There's my deck list here. I don't know. Good question. I don't know. I had fun. I had fun. Like if I did it again, I'd probably do the same thing, and I would probably also try and draw and get it in the draw bracket again, and maybe just like tech a little better for the matchups in there. I really do like the um you know the shortcut I found through the tournament that involved drawing that
Yeah,
game.
that was definitely a strategy you were like kind of accidentally fell into, or like, actually, guys, this is kind of great.
This is kind of good. And then but once I was in that strategy, like it was like, okay, well, I could have teched my deck for this. I was like, now this is a meta I can play in. We're ready for this, okay? And then I just change a few cards here and there. The Queen I really liked. That was really cool. It was fun to do. It worked into a lot of decks. It did not work into the mirror match. Oswald is infinitely better in the mirror match. Just because it's the same amount of removable, and it can't be used right away. And then cards like Hidden Trap. I didn't read the part where it says choose one, banish chosen item, or chosen character gets -2 strength. I just thought it gave him -2 strength. So that turned out that would have been really nice. They were like recurring hidden traps and just kept popping my workshops. Magnifying Glass is actually a pretty goated card, but again, it's really situational. You need the game to be very slow. When the game's slow, like the 2v2 matches we played, that Magnifying Glass puts in a lot of work. But yeah, overall, I think I did okay. I'd love to not have to play Cookie and Liquidator. looking at you, dogs players. But otherwise, this was fun. I wish they brought back Hiram though.
Our boy,
That's
our
my
boy.
boy.
It was my
Yeah.
boy. Now it's clearly our boy, Andy. All right, Brad. What about you?
Honestly, I don't know there's much that I would change about the deck. It is pretty much card for card what I used to run back in set 6 or back before rotation. One card I think that I would have taken out entirely, I split the Horseman Strikes and Teeth and Ambitions. I probably would have just done 4 Horseman Strikes. I really added that. That's the only card I added the night before because of the problem with the shark. I literally have no answer for a shark unless he's isolated or I have the a dragon. I have enough ink to get the dragon, which I don't always have. So I threw in a couple of those Horseman Strikes, and they came in clutch in game 2 against my only Ruby Sapphire matchup. So I think the card draw, like if I didn't have anything else to do, I prefer just the Horseman Strikes in general because Teeth and Ambitions are there for, I was expecting to see a lot more of the Diablo, which I guess I saw a fair amount. I saw him in 3 games, but if Snowfort's out there, then the Teeth and Ambitions doesn't take care of Diablo anymore, and I don't have any answer for items. So I think Horseman Strikes could have just been a 4 of or taken out Teeth and Ambitions and add a couple more characters. Everything else worked like it was supposed to. The best thing, one of the funnest things I got to do, I always thought Ruben was kind of a dead card in this deck. I've never found the right use for him, but in my round 5 again with Meg, my game 3, he was clutch in keeping my Maui alive and allowing me to cheat out more characters, getting the damage off of Maui, allowing him to challenge again on anything she would turn sideways, and getting to play something for cheaper. Because I was a little bit bricked up with my with my hand because there are 15 uninkables in the deck, but with her not being able to deal with Ruben or neglecting to deal with Ruben for a while because he's a 1/3 that doesn't really do a whole lot, but I made the most work out of him before she finally took care of him. Because literally in game 1, I think she won the die roll, and both game 1 and game 2 she found 3 of her 4 1-drop Cindy's and just had total board control for a while with a lot of the singing that Cindy can do. Before I made like the comeback of the century in set 1 or in game 1, it was all but over before I found a way to get to Big Sisu, wipe the majority of her board, and then take control of the rest of the game. But the deck just did what it was supposed to do. I had so much fun with it in all my matchups. Round 3, I got to play one of our friends. Well, not one of our the team Snuggly Duckling. Some of our friends are on that team. I got to play one of the Ducks, meet a new one of them there. He was on Snowfort, and that went to 3. That was a really back and forth matchup as well. But yeah, I can't stress enough how much fun I had playing this deck again in a competitive environment and meeting like literally every single one of my opponents was as nice as could be in the environment that we were in, trying to play for a golden Mickey or whatever prizing you're striving for. Everybody was incredible, and
What was your
I'm
record,
happy
Brad?
with it.
I mean,
3-3.
Playing for a
3-3 drop.
gold Mickey? You playing for a gold
No,
Mickey?
I'm just saying
This
everybody
was-
had the goal. Everybody had a goal for prizing, right? And I realized that I should have expected that you would question my wording there, but we're all there playing competitively was the point.
100%.
And
Yes.
and we still kept it I try to make every game with me at least friendly. We're talking, we're having a good time. It's not always the case because somebody on the other side wants it more than I do, but occasionally, but most of the time we're just chatting, we're enjoying it. And I can't stress enough how much of a good time this is one of my top DLCs for a myriad of reasons. And
yep.
Yeah.
I think that's a great segue, right? Like we have such a great community here. And while we weren't golden Mickey-less, our captain Jimmy ended up going home with a golden Mickey in cosplay format.
Some might
501.
some might say the golden Mickey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
golden
probably
Mickey.
Jimmy who would say it. But
I'll just say by the way, Jimmy's wife is the, I think, first person on the Rules of Villainy team to hold a golden Mickey.
Yeah, DKP.
physically.
3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Still 3.
she was like
She
panning
actually
out
held
golden
3
Mickey from
of
DKP.
the golden Mickeys, so pretty exciting there. Which kind of segues us really nice just to talk a little bit about like maybe we go around here and I'll start with our top 32 person here. It's like what's like a highlight? What was something really fun you saw or did that you just kind of want to share with our community?
I mean, I would say that the best part about all of it was just the support just from basically everyone. I had people that I played in earlier rounds coming up to me like, "Oh, I've been following you," and like, either someone beat me, and it's just it didn't matter basically how the result ended. Everybody was just great. The support obviously from the team, the St. Louis area, like just every round being able to come back to this like seeing everyone and every round was that was like my favorite part of the whole thing. And then I mean that was just I think like Kristen the Grape, she would always before every single round always come with me basically to the table, make sure I was calm, like was really helping me calm down and okay, let's get focused, like you got one more to go, like just keep going, and then like I it meant the world, and it was made the whole trip worthwhile. So
Absolutely.
That's incredible.
I gotta piggyback on that and give a huge shout out to Chip as well. Like we said earlier, he was one game away on his winning in. Definitely get it next time, buddy. But Chip, we were all grinding side events Sunday, doing fun stuff, playing 2v2s. Chip was standing there, staring down Andy's opponent, grimacing at them, letting them just channeling all of his energy. He was there, to update all of us. And he, so he's a real one for sure. Big shout out to Chip for
100%. Chip's always great. Chip's
and then
every situation.
And a big shout out as well to Ryan. I got to give him a shout out. Jimmy made the joke that he brought that he brought every card that he owns. But I kid you not, Ryan did bring every card.
No, he did. I couldn't fit my luggage into his car
legitimately
because
100%.
he brought the entire thing. Dirt GCG TM had his entire stock of cards.
So how they
so
have,
I had to my suitcase was on my lap the entire time driving back. That's not true. I'm being dramatic.
But you know how they have like the 1,000 card like cardboard rows, and then they have the ones where it's like 7 of
five
them
or across.
Yeah. He brought like 2 or 3 of those inside, along with a couple troves, and I was like, "Wow, Ryan brought a lot of cards."
No, he brought a playset of every card.
Go into his trunk, and his trunk is one entire level of troves. The floor of his trunk is just troves.
I should have taken a picture of the trunk, to be honest with you. Jimmy, what about you? What's an experience or something that you want to shout out for our community?
Yeah, I'd say almost similar to Andy, going back to home base and seeing everyone and seeing opponents we played throughout. My very first match against Mark Q4IKE Quick, I think his username. He was on Blurple, and we had fun. He said it was his first DLC, and I could tell he's a little nervous, and he made a couple he needed to do a take back, and we'll just call a judge to let you do it. It's fine. And so I think it put him at ease, and he came back and followed up with me just over the tournament, and it was he became my biggest fan basically. He saw me going in day 2. I said I made day 2, and later he was sitting near the St. Louis crew table and was cheering along with the rest of everyone else. So I think going to the community, making these sort of random friends along the way is a lot of fun. And we want, as part of our competitive team, the little ethos or what we strive to be, among other things like competing and doing all these things. One of them is having everyone that you play a game with leave feeling like it was a positive experience is important. Because I don't want to sacrifice getting a person's well-being or happiness just for a dub in a card game. And so just hearing all the people that do have positive interactions with us villains is always nice.
Yeah, and that's why discard is officially banned on the Rules of Villainy competitive team. No discard allowed. Jimmy played pull the lever, but he specifically never made his opponent discard with the second
I did a
ability.
couple times
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Whoa,
All right.
whoa.
All right, Andy, Villain Andy, tell the folks your experience.
Man, I don't know. It happened. It all just happened so fast. It was like a blur. But I had a really, really fun time. This was it didn't feel like it. But when I was talking to Kristen, the Grape, she was like, "Yeah, this is our, like first DLC as a competitive team." I was like, "No, we were like all in Richmond. We were all sitting at the same table doing the same thing, but this is like the first one as the competitive team. We had our practices and everything. We had put a lot more effort into this, even if it is, crappy old Infinity, whatever. But like we had the RoV, house. There was a whole bunch of us staying together in a house. We all, we're going out to dinner and everything. It felt really awesome, as a part of a team, to get to do that. Obviously, it's always so much fun seeing and meeting everyone. Like I'm probably the worst person to like go up and meet in person and be like, "Oh, it's Andy from Rules of Villainy." I'm just like, "Who's that?" Like, why are you want to talk to that person? I'm just a regular guy. I don't have anything interesting to say, but it was fun getting to hand out, the swag and the stuff that we had. I don't think I have any left. I tried to give out all I could. It was great meeting everyone. I forgot everyone's name the moment you said it to me. I'm really, really sorry. I do that all the time. I should just really start writing them all down. I'd take a picture, like a Polaroid, and then write your name on the back. It's the only way. It's really creepy, but like that's the only way.
It's actually funny you say that because somebody saw me because I asked somebody like what somebody's name was, and I just kept saying their name over and over and over again in my head to like try to commit it to memory. And they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, if I don't do this, I will absolutely forget their name like the moment they leave, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, it's really great. What about you, Mr. Mayor?
I've been sitting here trying to think of one specific thing, and it's really hard to do because the experience was just so incredible. And
Do a quick collage.
I want
shout them all
what's
out.
that?
Do a
Yeah,
quick
shout 'em all.
collage. Montage,
I have my
shout 'em
teammates. My opponents were Logan, Nice Kelly, Jerry from TSD, Dan, who was playing dogs, Meg, Steel Song, loved her. She was from Michigan. Keith was on the Emerald Steel discard, was the one who got me to drop the tournament after going 3-3. I did get around on him. I played my Rapunzel on Elsa. I played my Rapunzel as my first turn ink. And he peeked at my hand with Diablo and was not expecting to see Ruby Fossa. He expected Steel Song or Dogs or something. And he's like, "Well, this is going to be fun." And I ended up taking that game. But the other two games, discard did its discard thing, and I couldn't bounce back. Double Sing Ursula is still a pain. Yeah, he gave... Well, yeah. I don't need to get into that. Maybe I'll make a video on all my matchups. He gave his double singer Ursula like +6 resist, and I'm like, well, how do I get rid of this? Like with One Last Hope, it was absolutely insane. Or not One Last Hope, the other song, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I want to give a shout out. I had so many listeners come up to me throughout the weekend that just kind of melted my heart because of just what we've built here. Every time I meet somebody new, I'm like, wow, where are you from? Because like this started as a local thing here in St. Louis for our love of the game. Of course, we had our Pandora listener, Jamie, come up. She even made a trade with Ryan for her husband, looking for a super or Mrs. Incredible enchanted because, Ryan has 20 of them. Pandora, Jamie, yeah, Daniel, Steve and Lincoln, not Inkswell and Lincoln, but there's another Steve and his son Lincoln out there. I think it's Steve and Anthony in our Discord. He came up and said hi. I was standing there watching the day tours, and he came up and just said, "Hey, congratulations on your 100th episode," and I just froze like, oh my God, hey, how are you? You know, like I didn't know who he was yet. And he you know, introduced himself. And I was just standing there, you know, I was getting pictures of everybody in day 2 and, or whatever. And, it just every time somebody comes up to us, it's a feeling that I'm like, wow, we've done something. People have watched our stuff, and it feels really really good. I talked to Steven or Ryan Miller for a little bit. He was there only on Friday, and that was a real treat. It was really really fun watching him and Emily actually talk for like 15 minutes about pins. He was very interested in the rarities of pins and stuff, because you know we used to have pins in Disney Lorcana, and unfortunately they had to cut those. But
Well, they're bringing it back, right? That's what
hopefully
the discussion,
hopefully.
the 15-minute discussion. I mean, I know
He
you
was-
were excluded from it because you didn't sign the NDA, but you could like overhear, you know, the mumblings, right? You could see her yelling and being like, "Bring back the pins," you know.
She was excited. It was funny watching her perk up whenever he would mention something. Like she knew what he was talking about, and he was genuinely interested in the question, you know, the answers that she was giving him about, you know, pin rarity and, you know, how big of the pin community is. Because she's had this idea, you know, she's like, why don't we have like pin trader events and Lorcana events at the same time, and that we have this crossover. People start buying pins. People in the pin community start buying Lorcana cards for their favorite characters and opening packs and everything. And you know, I think he was genuinely interested in something like that, and he did allude to, but wouldn't say, of course. And I didn't press him for anything, that he has some really exciting announcements, which we heard about in the Attack of the Vine special yesterday. But for season 3, he cannot wait.
Brad,
Yeah.
it's Attack of the Vine.
Attack of the Vine. But yeah, he said, I have some really good news about season 3 that I cannot wait to share about everybody. And
I heard season 3 they're adding this new awesome thing to the OP kits where they're going to give out pins to players in local game stores for playing as part of the OP. It's a brand new thing they're doing now.
Here's the down low on the pins is that right now it's there are these things that are occurring in the United States against other countries that is preventing pins from making their way to OP kits. And so at some point, Jimmy.
Now I do think there is one way you can get a Lorcana themed pin though. If you make a donation of $5 to Rules of Villainy, there are some solid pins that you can pick up. They all look like the same, but
100th anniversary special pin.
It's a 1-year anniversary, and you need to get them before our 2-year anniversary. At which point we will, with a Sharpie, change that 1 to a 2 on all these.
Is that an upcharge to get the Sharpie on?
Exactly.
That would be $6.
Yeah, listen, I don't think we're printing it's 2-year anniversary pins.
Why
much
not?
Much like we didn't get 2-year anniversary pins for Lorcana. We're not getting 2-year anniversry pins
Unfortunately,
for our podcast.
there are things going on in this country that make it so that pins are just harder to obtain, you know? Or at least that's what my lawyer Vince tells me.
Yeah, real quick. Again, I also want to shout out our Pandora listener, Jamie. She came up to me a few times. It was always great to see her. I want to shout out Nick, also known as Jackalope Spam, in our Discord, who spent basically the entire time with the RoV crew. And so I think he's like basically like one of us by just assimilation here.
I played 2v2 with him. It was so much fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. I want to shout out Brian, who's also in our Discord. I think is a Enchanted Hunter is his name in the Discord. He's been a lore guide with me. He didn't do lore guiding this time around, but he hooked me up with a shirt from last season, which I'm really, really excited to have. One of the button ups that
nice.
I think you all had to wear when Andy the Grape wore when he had to get his top 32 photo. I want to shout out Ace in Marlowe. There's a father-son duo that were playing in the event. Ace was the son. He was dressed up as he had the chef's hat with Ratatouille inside the hat.
Remy.
Remy inside the hat, and I
Just
went
the
up to him.
meal, Ratatouille.
Vince-
spilling
I-
all
Meal,
over his
yeah.
head.
In case he got hungry.
Vince,
Yeah.
Vince
Yeah.
hasn't seen Ratatouille before. It's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Would you please let me get through this, y'all?
Yeah, go.
I let you all get through it. Anyway, there was an inside joke between Ryan. He's like, you should go up and run and grab the hat off his head. And I was like, I'm not doing that to a child. But I did go up to him at the end and was talking with him. They came through Pack Rush quite a bit because that's where I was most. I was on the on-demand events as a lore guide for most of the tournament. And when I showed him my Ratatouille shirt, he was like got lit up and he was super excited. And so I was talking to him and his dad for just a little bit, gave them some stickers, and they're like, "Yeah, we listen to the podcast." There was this guy who came coming through Pack Rush, and his name was Ayed, and I would see him a lot and on demand events. And I would give him trouble each time. I was like, you really seem to like Pack Rush. And he's like, I don't know, mate. And I was like, dude, you keep paying for Pack Rush. You love Pack Rush. It's like the best format in the game. And so by the end, we were big buds here. Shout out to JDZ, but also more importantly, his wife Katrina, better known as production for JDZ. I had chatted with her at Melbourne quite a bit, and it was really good to reconnect with her and JDZ again a little bit, and then obviously talking to a bunch of other folks there, and just a shout out to Rav Kyle, who I saw play a game with you, Grape the Andy, and was it Ryan as well in the on-demand events, and so that was a lot of fun. Rav Kyle also gave he signed a flounder for all of the lore guides that were in there. Unfortunately, my deck box with all my promos is nowhere to be found. I lost it on day 3. So if you have a Genie deck box that has a bunch of promos, shout me out. Let me know. I'm missing a lot of my stuff, which is really sad. Again, shout out to Rochelle. Was able to talk to her a little bit. I did have Captain Jimmy sneak into the VIP room. Well, not sneak. He had VIP.
Was
I
allowed
did
in
not have
there.
VIP. He did not sneak into it. He had VIP, but I had him go in there so she could sign my playmat, because I have all of the Ravensburger employees sign my Steamboat Mickey playmat from the first chapter. And also shout out to Lacey, who's like the director of, I don't know if it's product or events or something. She ran the Ravensburger booth, and she was talking about how they've got really cool plans about that concept going into the future, and that they tested it in Richmond, and which some of us experienced, and then they made a booth that was bigger, like I think almost kind of twice the size that it was in Richmond, maybe not quite twice the size.
Yep.
She's like, we need to get a bigger booth, because we way
More
underestimated demand and more product. So it was really cool talking to her about that. And I know I talked to a whole bunch of people, and just like Andy, I really probably need to get better at like taking names and stuff so I can chat with folks. But I really it was a really great experience to meet a whole bunch of people and interact. And I can't be more proud of our team and how everybody did, to get 2 folks into day 2 for the 3rd time this season, and then get our first top 32 for the team. And we're a pretty young team. Like our team is like less, I think we can say less than a year old. Like our competitive team is less than a year old.
For sure.
And so that's been awesome. And like Chip, man, he almost made day 2. So we almost had 3 day tours go into the round, and we just had a lot of great practice. And I think that was a testament to you, Jimmy, of getting the team together. I know it's like, it's definitely been less than a year, because you and I chatted at Gen Con, like about, wanting somebody to kind of own this competitive team. And so I'm really proud to see where we've come in less than a year, for you to take up the mantle of being a judge and kind of leading the team to these awesome results. But yeah, I will really quickly say here, just about I know I'm talking a lot, I apologize, but I want to just really quickly talk about my judging experience, my lore guiding experience, which is really great. I really like it. I'm hopeful gonna like apply to both NA Continentals and the EU Continentals as well, or EU Championships. So because I think it'd be fun to maybe do an international lore guiding thing. I was on demand events for most of the weekend, so that's really much about customer experience. I did have like a few judge calls, nothing that was like super crazy in on demand events because those are all very casual events. So really it's about just making sure people really enjoy the experience of the game. We had, I want to say like 8 Buzz Lightyear iconics pulled across the 3 days events, and that was super exciting. If you're on our Discord, I'll make sure we try to post them. Maybe I'll send them to Andy and there'll be the photos at the end of the episode too, and stuff. Maybe we can add them here, but I try to take as many photos of folks with those iconic Buzz Lightyears as possible. We did have a few Meritas, but I was never in the room when the Meritas were pulled.
You take their photo and then like also write down, their address and maybe where in the building they're keeping the Buzz Lightyear iconic.
No.
Are they aware that
not,
we're going to post their photos?
Yeah, they know. I mean, I was
Okay.
pretty upfront about all that.
Awesome.
And so
Vince, how's your French?
My French is parlez-vous français un
so poor. Okay, anyway, I want to see Vince do a judge call in French.
Actually, I think all international tournaments are in, with the exception of maybe ones in China and in Japan, are in English. Officially in English. Obviously, it helps to have other languages, but I think they're officially in English just because of so many different languages of folks coming. And then I did have one judge call in the main event in round 1. I dealt with an issue actually at Captain Jimmy's table that he had, which we got sorted out. And then I made a judge call. Somebody accidentally played friends on the other side when a Pete was on our opponent's board. And so we just unwound that game action. Everybody was cool with it, and we moved along. So nothing crazy.
I saw
a pretty fun event.
I saw a lot of please be kind rewind going on with the lore guides. I saw there was one next to me. It was hard to pay attention to my own game. They must rewound like 3.5 turns. It was impressive. They were good.
They had the blockbuster policy in effect.
Yeah, they had the blockbuster policy for sure. The one guy played a Gantu, the 2/4 Gantu that stops everyone from playing songs and like makes everything cost more. And so the person who played the Gantu forgot about the Gantu's effect and then continued to play songs in their turn. Then the next person, the next turn, played both items and songs, and just like, we're doing How Far I'll Go, we're playing Popsicle, we're questing, we're challenging, we're doing all kinds of stuff. I was like, but hey, I don't know who the judge was, but shout out to them. They got it rewound. Everyone was happy, and
that's a lot to rewind. Like at a certain point, it's hard to rewind games.
Game lost, both of you. That's what I would have done.
A certain point,
you lose.
You got to be careful about how far back you go on running those games back. But any last thoughts before we move on to Constituents Corner? All right, Mr. Mayor, take us away.
All right, Mrs. Mayor, shout out to my wife asking, what was your favorite moment from Indie DLC weekend? I'm just going to go down the list here. Jimmy, what was your favorite moment?
Obviously, hanging out with Emily.
That's so nice.
No, it's fun. I mean, it's like I said earlier. I think hanging out with the crew and coming back to the squad after wins or defeats and getting cheered or consoled. Always good. I'll toss it over to Rob Andy.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun looking for butter at 3 a.m. for Brad so he can make pancakes the following morning. That was an adventure that I went on, which reminds me, I do just want to say I know, and Andy the Grape had a lot of people to shout out, but I drove him there to the DLC, so like probably at least like 40-50% of his success, I have some stake in that, right? Like I'm just trying to be humble about it, like it's
Yeah, clearly, very clearly here. Surprised you
but
didn't you give your opinions on griddles then.
just all the adventures that me and my wife Kristen and Andy and Kristen, the most confusingly named group of people in a car possible, had driving around the very well maintained roads of Indianapolis. We had a great time.
Andy the Great.
Vince? Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, 100% on everything that Andy said. It was a lot of fun going through all those really nice roads. And then, yeah, I mean, I really liked how we went going to see Toy Story just to start off the trip was really fun. I really enjoyed going and doing that, and then just basically being able to go to dinners and hanging out with the team and all that. Same thing everyone said. That was the best.
Your favorite moment wasn't top cutting the top 32? God, I thought this was a layup.
I mean, the DLC, you got top 32. It's part of it.
I mean, you've got your NA invite now.
Yeah,
buddy.
man.
Like, isn't that exciting?
What a humble response, but a very nice one. How about you, Vince?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, talking, hanging out with Emily and Julie during my breaks, because everybody was often like out playing matches when I was like on my break, and also like hanging out with Heather and Reed, who were there as well.
Yes.
Which was really great to see. They were attendees in this event, so I don't want to forget shouting out them and having them go get stuff signed for me. Unfortunately, like I said, I lost that deck box that has everything in it, so unfortunately that's not great. But yeah, and also like just I think probably the real highlight for me was just seeing how excited people were with Julie's fantastic golden Mickey costume, and how much that like lit up everybody's day, and how excited like Emily and Julie were to go with them to like have these official photo shoot with one of the golden Mickeys. And I ended up having, which we haven't released yet, a video of Emily interviewing Julie as the golden Mickey, which is kind of fun. A little piece of content here. So yeah, honestly, that was kind of my favorite thing. And just to intervene in, talking with folks that really excite the game. That was like 9 different things that were favorite, because it's so hard to choose. What about you, Brad?
I'm with you 100%. Julie is absolutely incredible. So incredible, in fact, that one of our Chip, who we've talked about multiple times, one of his opponents asked, "Oh, you know Julie?" when they sat down or asked him if he knew Julie from Rules of Villainy, which love everything she does. She puts so much effort into it. Watching the behind the scenes, which you can find on our Discord if you join, listeners, that all of her cosplaying up until the event. It's so much fun seeing all the passion and love that she puts into that. So, but yeah, she had a great time. I enjoyed watching her have a great time with that. Emily had a great time hanging out with her the entire time. I had a great time playing my deck. I'm just kind of regurgitating everything you said. All the friends we've made, all the new friends, all the listeners we've met and seen again. Playing with Nick, 2v2 format was a lot of fun. But I had Tiago sign one of my right behind yous from my dwarf deck, which I 3-0'd in one of my side events. Core, going back to Core and 3-0ing with a deck that I really like, felt really good. Just a good DLC overall. The whole thing was my favorite. I don't have one specific single moment. I should probably say shout out Andy. I wish I could have watched you top cut, but I was in that event when it happened. But I told my opponent, I said, hey, my friend and teammate is in the top cut is about to make top cut, or hopefully make top cut. So I might be scatterbrained all over the place here. And sure enough, when he came walking over to tell me that he made it, I jumped out of my seat, gave him a hug, and then told my opponent, I'm not crying. I promise.
We did the same thing. We were in our 2v2 and we were like, we might shout here in a minute, depending on the results of a match. Like, no, that's fine. We have a friend who's still in it as well. And then
Yeah.
Andy came up behind us, was like, "We got it. Yeah, let's go."
Yeah. Great time.
And then I went back
overall.
to ruining their day by playing a million items, CSUing their whole board, and then going to 47 with a Tammy and dime. And
The problem for me is I had such a delayed reaction to our teammates making day 2 because I was following all the way up to like round 7, and I think I just had looked at when I went to go look at round 8 for the day to see like the win and in. I was still looking at like one of the like I think round 7, which they had both lost in. So and everybody had already gone because my shift was like later, and you had all gone to the restaurant to get a reservation, and so I got there, and I was like, I don't want to be like, you know, like, oh, sorry, you guys didn't make it or whatever and stuff. And then I think somebody was like, no, they made it. And I was like, oh my God, they made it. So like I had like a totally different reaction to the setup there. But let's move on to the next question.
Next question from Nick at Lorcana Collection said, likewise, following up Emily's question, what was your worst moment from the DLC? Do you guys have any bad experiences?
I got one right off the bat.
Take it.
My deck box, man. I lost it.
Man.
Day 3 Sunday.
Yeah.
I had just gone to the prize wall. Jimmy had given me some tickets so I could get 2 Simbas off the prize wall, so I could have enough tickets to get 2 Simbas off the prize wall. I go there. What's crazy about it is I had my deck box in my pocket. As I'm walking there, the tickets and my deck box fall out of my pocket. Somebody behind me is like, hey, you dropped this. Hands it to me. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Go up, get the promos. I come back and I show everybody that I got the promos. And that is the last time I saw that deck box. And I don't know what happened to it.
So you had the deck box at our table.
I had the deck box at our table.
And he didn't leave it at our table. We did a clean
one of us
sweep.
has to have it. Yeah, one of us has
either
to have
that
it.
or it is possible. Like I just grabbed it and took it to the ODE event and put it in my bag, and it was left because that was a separate room, right? So it may have ended up back there. I don't know. Somewhere between that was just the last time like I confirmed saw that deck box. So you know, it's a little bummer because I had some cards that were signed. I like had that Buzz Lightyear signed by
the iconic
Coney,
not the iconic, the legendary.
That's what we're telling his insurance.
I would be really freaking out if it was the iconic, to be honest with you. I'm like a little bit more chill because I mean, even though it was like, you know, DLC event promos and stuff, nothing in there is like totally irreplaceable. It would just kind of suck to replace them. It would be expensive to replace them and annoying. You're absolutely right. But yeah. So, but it was just it was really nice. I had Coney sign the Buzz Lightyear with my name on it, and so it says, and you know she's French, so she put pour, which is 2 in French for Vincent. And so I was like, oh, I just like because I love Toy Story, and so that was exciting. But yeah, that's my worst experience.
Well, what about you, Jimmy? Sorry to hear that, Vince. We'll find it. Go ahead, Jimmy.
So mine is definitely equally terrible.
Oh no.
I was in like round 3 of the main event, and I had used an Ursula, looked at an Steel Song opponent's hand. I saw they had like a 4-cost Ariel and a Rapunzel, and I'm like, okay, cool, pass. And then like all information left my brain. They sang a song with Cindy the next turn, the 1 cost, and she was exerted. I had a snow fort out, and I'm like, ooh, I got to get rid of that Cindy. You can't let the them go free. So I swung my Ursula into it because I had a snow fort, so I could take it out. And then immediately I'm like, and then pass, and then immediately I'm like, oh no, I've made a huge mistake. And my opponent swings in with their 4-cost Ariel, and they're like, I take 2 damage, right? And I'm like, yes, Snowfort has betrayed me. And then they play Rapunzel with double cards, and the game was just over after a couple more things that also went wrong. But I just remembered, like, wow, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like the same thing in that round 1 against the Ruby Amber player in the main event. I used my queen. I was like, should I use my queen? Should I not use my queen? I'll lose it. It's fine. Whatever. I'm like, let's use it. I want the item. I want to move past this. I'm gonna like B prep or Mercisu soon anyway. So I use the queen and I pass. Then they swing into the queen, and I I immediately realized, you know what? Be really cool if they made like a 4-cost 1/5 quest for 2 that like heals 3 and draws 3 cards. That'd be an awesome card for them to make. And yeah, they played Rapunzel, and I remembered that card is in the game again. So whoops. And
How about you, Andy?
So I don't know how well known this is, but they removed an iconic landmark in Indianapolis. As we were going through, there the gravy house where it was painted on the wall. They painted over it.
They
So when we
painted
drove
over
by it, it was painted over, and we missed it.
I forgot about the gravy. No.
For
So
people who don't realize, we were searching for our RoV house, and we found one house that had a very rare mural piece of artwork behind it, which was just the word gravy written like 10 times
Yeah.
along the wall. And unbeknownst to it, both me and the other Andy both named our set champs decks gravy, and then got paired into each other at the set champs, and Brad lost his marbles. It was
because I was doing all the deck lists in real time, and then when I saw you paired, I'm like, oh, this is too good, because we literally learned about it like the night before, and you guys named your completely different decks the exact same thing, and oh man. And I forgot about it by the time we got to DLC Indianapolis.
That's really sad. I forgot about that. You're making me cry, Andy. I
gotta say, Andy the Grape. I'm surprised you didn't say that your worst experience was parking 4 miles away from the convention center to save $5.
Well, that's standard though. I would do that.
I thought it was going to be playing 12 rounds and then finally realizing you only had 2 under the sea in your deck.
I believed I had 3 all day, so that belief is all I needed.
Brad, what about you, mate?
It's a mindset.
I had it. The gravy thing totally threw me off. I talked about earlier, the Chernobog misplay in the round 1. Really, it kind of just changed the scope of that entire series. I think I could have taken game 1 and taken it to 3 games. So that was playing wise the biggest mistake that I made. Physically, the biggest mistake I made was trying to run away from Ryan on day 2 on Sunday, because I was being stupid, and I got these really cool Toy Story sleeves from Ron from Japan, and I knew Ryan was gonna want them, so I made a joke that I was gonna run away, and so I turned around when he asked what they were, and I started running, and then I just ate the floor as hard as I possibly could. And for the next 3 days, I'm still feeling the pain in my leg from it. No bruising or anything, but it made quite a story, because some people around us apparently thought that Ryan had attacked me or attacked my leg like Tanya Harding or something. But that was not the case. I just ran and lost my balance and ate the floor very badly. So it was funny, but yeah, nothing out of the ordinary, or like, because I'm goofy all the time, whether I'm hitting people with my playmat or throwing it across the room, these things happen.
Your Milwaukee playmat bonking my head, mate. Next question.
Yeah, next question from Paul. These are for Jimmy and Andy. Now that our Infinity DLC is over, what are your thoughts on the format? Have they changed from last week, and how would you improve it for the future? Either one of you can take it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've had a lot more fun, I would say, in the past several weeks with it than initially, where it was really, really Wild West and made it really hard to figure out some tech cards and choices. I think at least with a little bit of things settling, there's still some rogue stuff, some things people are doing, but we're able to sort of wrap our arms around this thing and figure pieces of it out. I could see in the past the tramp banning, calls and reasonings, but I don't even think that would necessarily change a whole lot. It hurts dogs' consistency, but I think more and more people are seeing the power of stuff like they just have Eleanor and do Eleanor things.
Yep.
But also that even the like slower decks like Shark Manor was able to take the finals 3-1 against dogs by just doing their thing. And like Andy said earlier, he doesn't want to have to play 3 cookies and 4 liquidators, but I think it's healthy to have a format that forces a little bit of respect for aggro. And so I think, Ravensburger is probably not going to ban anything, especially with new set coming out and everything. Maybe they look over a ban list in the future. I think if they did ban, it would probably be a couple of cards with like sort of the strategy to reshape sort of what they want the format to be and play like, as opposed to like shooting one card down in one deck and then being like, well, let's see what happens. Because it's even though dogs is very powerful and converted well, there's other decks that are doing well and converted well too. And I think we're in a somewhat stable ecosystem for the moment that just taking one element out could upset the balance.
Yeah. Any additional thoughts, Andy? Andy Grape?
I mean, that
Andy
sums it up. I wasn't really a big fan of Infinity going in, but now it's my favorite format ever. But no, I still probably prefer Core. If they can shape it, kind of like Jimmy, basically exactly what Jimmy said. If they have a way of shaping it in a way that, like, as they make more cards and more of these duo cards, and it could eventually I could see something just crazy coming out of Infinity. So as long as they keep that in check, I mean, it's a different format. So.
Yep. Awesome. And the second half of Paul's question here for everybody, for the rest of the pod, with the weekend being most likely the last set champs events, what are you expecting to see? Will the players be more determined to bring the best decks, or are we at a point where we'll start seeing pet decks? And I'll start. I think that being that the Woody card is a very powerful playable legendary and a very what's the word? I guess expensive card currently. I feel like people are still going to be trying really, really hard for it with decks like dogs and red, blue, Ruby, Sapphire. What about you guys?
Well, Ruby Sapphire is not really in this meta, but because it's core. But
sorry, we just you're right. You're right. My bad.
This is not the last weekend for set champs. There is still set champs on the weekend of July 4th. And what screams freedom more than playing your favorite TCG Disney Lorcana at your favorite local game store? So the answer is I don't know. I'm still too tired from the DLC. But we will have Deck Test Tuesday next week where we'll be talking about this. There will be another episode of the podcast next week where we'll tell you all about what we learned from this weekend's set champs and how badly we get our butts whooped.
Yeah. Hopefully Dwarfies takes it down. Vince, you have any thoughts on that? You're playing in one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing actually in 2 this weekend.
Oh,
because I've gotta, we gotta try to get that playmat. I've got to at least win 1 set champs.
Play dwarves
at some point, right? Eventually, that's the objective here. But and I agree with Andy. We still got 1 more week to go, but I think there are quite a few viable decks in the core. You've got Blurple, we've got dogs. Baja did really well at one of our set champs.
Dwarfs.
I think Amber.
Somebody.
Amber Amethyst did really well. Like that kind of like eats up Blurple quite a bit. I know Villainy Andy here was testing out Amber Sapphire as well, which I think, given the right meta, like at local set champs, could actually do pretty well. It didn't work out for you quite there, although it did work out well against me. um, but I mean, I actually think there's quite a bit, and I think it's going to very much depend on your individual local meta and what you expect, and somewhat what your matchups look like too, your matchup spread. The thing I'll also say though is, what's really interesting to me about set champs is while it is a competitive event, it's kind of the first level of competitive event. And so, just because when you look at unlike a DLC where you can look at the spread of all the decks and what might work well and what might not work well and stuff, a lot of times it's set champs. I think you actually have more control over winning because you can just play better. You can get more practice in and you can be more comfortable and play your deck better. Whereas I think generally, when you go to a DLC, because the competition at a DLC is above a set champs, the folks that go there are generally more competitive. They've practiced more, and so they're going to be a little bit more comfortable with the deck that they're playing than maybe somebody at a set champs. So I wouldn't be, necessarily as concerned from the perspective of, your local meta as I would be going into a set champs.
Well, you heard it here first. You heard it here first. If you want to win a set champs, sign up for Vince's Metafy. Step 1, get good. Step 1, get good.
And play dwarves. Last question from Jackalope Spam. Who's behind the vine? Anybody?
Better.
It's obviously Hades.
Had some thoughts.
That's been my guess for a while.
Did you see from Repo Man in our Discord today? He said that the vines started coming up from Maleficent in set just a few sets ago, I think, or maybe all the way back in set 5. Yeah, she does. Yeah. But it was an interesting flavor text on one of her cards. I think it was Shimmering Skies that he was talking about. But she's talking about wrecking the party of Shimmering Skies. But
is it obviously Hades though? Because I feel like every time, I think the whole purpose of the Illumineers quest is we defeat the vine, and then we have the celebratory set, which is going to be is Hyperion City. That's it, right? Or
Hyperia.
Hyperia is going to be the kind of celebratory set, the Shimmering Skies, if you will. Very and then colorful. We go into the Hades set, which I believe is into the Darklands, right?
Ink Dark.
Ink Dark.
Not the Underdark. The Ink Dark.
Yeah. So the reason I think it can't be Hades is because there's literally a Hades card that was revealed today. Hades Meticulous Schemer, whose flavor text says, "This little guy is so hideous. I love it. And the way it sucks up flood ink, even I couldn't have planned it any better." So he's like, I didn't plan this.
I like it. I like it. I'm just gonna say I think Honey Wizard's up to no good here.
You think it's
just wow. He is I think we've got an evil sorcerer Honey Wizard going on here, mate. I think
could be.
I think spending all that time eating honey in the 100-acre woods has done something to our lovely Pooh Bear.
Did they announce when Ink Dark comes out?
Q1 27?
Yeah, it's 3 sets from now.
2027? Because we still have the card. I'm kind of on a schedule here. I got plans for August. The Hades card, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Vine will be out in August.
But that's a line from the movie, though, based on the iconography of the card. Yeah.
You can be quiet.
Okay.
Any other theories on the Vine?
I think it's
I
Tramp.
thought maybe Mama Gothel. Mama G.
Mother Gothel, yeah.
She she works a little plant magic. But the flavor text of one of her cards was a little bit like, I'm not in control of this. I'm glad someone brought me up here. It could just be, maybe it was Arcasia. They went psycho. And
I still think Arcasia's Jock. We never saw.
We've never seen Arcasia and Jock in the same room at the same time.
Exactly. Someone with control over all the ink and flood ink, which doesn't seem like a Glimmer thing to do necessarily.
Fair.
Well, that's it for
We-
Constituents Corner. Oh, sorry, Jimmy.
No, I was just gonna say because we've had all these hero
Yeah.
Illumineers, but
Yeah.
what's to say an Illumineer can't be bad? Like a
Andy
villain.
Andy the Grape, though, did we get your prediction?
I have no idea.
I didn't think you did. Yeah.
Daisy Duck. You said Daisy Duck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it'd never
he's
be
like
Daisy
I'm
Daisy
still
Duck.
waiting for Daisy Duck. I'm waiting for the duo, the Daisy Duck and Donald Duck duo.
Donald.
I'm gonna make that, but
That'll be great. But yeah, that's it for Constituents Corner. Thank you for your questions. If you would like your questions answered here on the podcast, please feel free to comment below. Find us on the socials at Rules of Villainy or join our Discord and ask in the Constituents Corner channel.
And everybody's favorite segment, Villain of the Week. Take it away, Mr. Mayor.
We have for Villain of the Week from Set 10, Whispers in the Well, a 6-cost uninkable action in Spooky Sight. It is put all characters in or with 3 cost or less in their player's discard. Nope, that is not right. I am tired. I am so sorry. Let's do that one again. Put all characters with cost 3 or less into their player's inkwells, face down, and exerted. With the flavor text, we've got to get out of here. Oh, by Mickey Mouse and the art by Mariana Moreno. Why is this?
And the enchanted art, Brad?
Enchanted art by Gregors Krasinski.
Okay.
But yeah, I was going to get to that. But why is this Villain of the Week? We talked about we didn't talk about this
Beats
card
me.
basically at all in the set or in this episode. I threw it out there because it was a one of in the winning deck by Brian at DLC Indianapolis. I did actually run into a couple of these in my round 2 of Ruby Sapphire in the main event. But I was standing there in Brian's set top 16 match or top 8 matchup, and it was Spooky Sight that got him out of that game. To the best of my knowledge, I was too far away to actually see the game, but his teammates were around me, and they asked him as soon as the game was over, was it Spooky Sight? And he gave the thumbs up and was laughing about like Spooky Sight won him. I'm pretty sure what I could allude to was Spooky Sight won him that game, and I think it's a really good card. I was talking about it on the podcast leading up to the DLC that in the dogs matchups, in the birds matchups, this gets rid. It's like it's not a one-sided, but it gets rid of a lot of cards at once. And I know that there's questions about whether or not you want to give your opponent that much ink, and there's situations where absolutely you don't. But I do really like this card, and being in the championship winning deck as a one-of card, I thought made it a worthy contender here. What do you guys think about it?
I think it's decent. I want to always start with like trying to run one or something in the Sapphire control lists, and then sometimes I'll remove it just because it is really bad in other control matchups, like control mirrors.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I look at Andy's top 32 list here. I'm spooky sighting everything. He's got like 6 cards in the deck that don't get spooky sighted. So into dogs is pretty good. Pretty good.
Yes, sir.
It is pretty good. Honestly, I've run one for a while now in Blurple. I take it out and then I put it in. I take it out and put it in because it's like kind of the one card that's like break, in emergency break class when needed, and it's this card here. And in a deck, I think what's nice about decks like both the Ruby Sapphire and Blurple is that it's a card that you can still get out of your hand if you need to. So you can ink it if you need
Just
to.
Tipo.
So what's that?
With basically just Tipo?
Yeah, with Tipo.
Cindy
Or
if you run
Cinderella
Cindy
if you're
too.
running it.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you can. So if you need to, like, you can get rid of it if you don't think you need it. But I don't know. It's one of those cards that like I was so excited to see when it first released, and I've just never found the place for it to go. And so it's nice to see it finding itself like as at least a one of tech card in the meta. And it clearly did really well for Brian and getting him all the way to his Worlds invite and winning the DLC Indiana. I mean, it just wasn't this card, but finding what
Did it
Andy?
again. He did it again, guys. We got it. We got
What
it.
do you
He said DLC Indiana again.
do?
It's
Oh,
catching
just
on. It's a trend now. It's a trend. Let's go. Let's go.
DLC Indianapolis. My bad. I'm
I
tired.
remember when I made
right?
day 2 of DLC
We're all
Virginia.
tired. Yeah.
Listen, I'm just gonna say right now here, we should name DLCs like we name F1 races. All right, it's like
Oh, there it
the
is.
United
There it is.
States
Vroom vroom.
Grand Prix, the Spanish Grand Prix, the Belgian Grand Prix. We've got
Grand
the
Prix.
Austrian Grand Prix coming up this weekend. It's only when there are multiples in the same like country do we name out cities, and I think we can do the same with states. I'm just saying. Putting it out there. Anyway.
Anybody else have any
0
thoughts on
days since Vince has made an F1 joke on the podcast. We had to go ahead and reset that counter, guys. Unfortunately,
Jimmy, Andy, do you guys have any thoughts on Spooky Sight before we go into the artist showcase?
It's spooky. I think you mentioned a little against birds. It's kind of an interesting one. It can wipe the board or it can do nothing, depending on sort of the board state. With like Dumbos and Elsas and Crickies, sort of late stage game.
Yeah.
I think I got hit by it once over the weekend, maybe in a Ruby Saf environment matchup, and I think all it got rid of a Diablo, which is great for them, but it was shifted, and I had like another 1-drop Diablo out, so I got like 3 more ink, and so I was at like 8
Sure.
ink, and I had like 7 cards in hand, so I'm like, this isn't too
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
it's probably much better against the other Diablo decks, the ones that are doing a little more removing and maybe a little more discarding and maybe a little less drawing
like,
a billion cards.
I play pull the lever and play a 3-drop. Next turn, I sing friends. Okay, well, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
All
Andy
right.
the Grape, any words on Spooky Sight?
I didn't see a whole lot of it, but I mean that was part of the reason I had Mowgli in my deck with Ursula, just so
100%.
just in case I need it. So
Yep, and that's a good counter to it's in that. That just shows why Dogs is so consistent. Is even when you have a good tool to take it out, they have a tool to stop you from doing it. But yeah, that's it for Spooky Sight. The artist of the core art is Marina Moreno. 46 cards in the game. 1 enchanted that is the Steamboat Pilot, a Mickey Mouse from Fabled, which is one of my favorite ones I was fortunate enough to pull and get signed in Milwaukee. She's got some other former Villain of the Weeks here I had him up earlier. Doc is one of the biggest ones, and then there was another one as well that I don't have in front of me. Dumbo, of course.
Yeah, which I've got right here.
Yeah,
which she signed also in Milwaukee, and
and Grandmother Willow.
And she drew a little feather on it because I asked her to
that's
draw
cute.
a little thing, and I was really
Love
excited.
that.
It's one of my favorite cards.
But Andy's favorite card as well. I wonder if he got it signed in Milwaukee. A television set is another one of Mariana's cards that we love here at Rules of Villainy. We do have an enchanted Spooky Sight, which was one of my favorite enchanteds in the game. Unfortunately, it is way out of my price range right now to actually pick up, by Gregor Krasinski. He has 4 cards in the game, 2 enchanteds, of course, one of them being this, the other one being the Kita from set 3 Into the Inklands, which is also a gorgeous, gorgeous card. But yeah, that's it for Villain of the Week and the Artist Showcase. If you want to see any of their art, I will have links in the description below to check out their Instagram and ArtStation and wherever else they host their illustrations.
But we want to know about your opinion on the Villain of the Week. Is this somebody you like as a Villain of the Week? Because we hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you're joining us on audio, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever you listen.
I did it. I added that in there. If you're joining us on YouTube, which if you're not, you really should. We have a lot of fun over here. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell. I'm not reading what you're typing, Vince, so it won't matter. Catch us on Deck Test Tuesday, Meta Report on Monday, podcast on Friday. Probably something else, but I'm not going to look what Vince is typing. I'm not Rob
Jimmy
Burgundy.
Rules with a Z.
Jimmy Rules with a Z.
We We understand your time is valuable, so we appreciate you spending some of it with us. If you would like to follow along as we plot our devious plans, you can find us on all the socials at Rules of Villainy. We also have a growing community on Discord at which you could join with the link below. Jimmy still rules with a Z.
And we really thank Captain Jimmy and our top 32. Again, never not going to be fun to say. Andy the Grape, where can they find you if you've got something you want to shout out?
Yeah, so me and Kristen are going to start doing Lorcana and just random other fun games and stuff like that content on Grape's Duo, and you'll be able to find that on Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff.
I'll have the link in the description below. Jimmy?
Great.
I'm on Rules of Villainy Discord, basically.
Let's go.
I thought I should do some social stuff sometime. I'm on Instagram, Clismo3. I mostly just like reels and send them to my wife and friends.
Yep, that's what it's for.
Absolutely. Well, until next week, stay safe, fellow villains. Be wary of wannabe heroes who want to disrupt your villainous plans. And as always, remember the rules of villainy.